And welcome back to another exclusive interview here on 1700. You are with your hosts Vic and Nick, and today we have the absolute pleasure of speaking to a very special guest, Josh Cashman.
As an artist who blends soulful folk rock rhythms with impressive and captivating vocals, Josh has become a national and international success, sharing his timeless music to audiences all around the world.
And here he is now to chat not only about his most recent single, 25, but also his upcoming debut album, Now I'm 25. Josh, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on this, Monday? It's great.
It's our absolute pleasure. Now, how have you been going? We just spoke a little bit then about these are very strange times we're living in. How have you been going this year during this kind of global pandemic?
Yeah, it's had its moments, the good and bad moments. I feel as though, at the start when it all kind of went down, I sort of saw it as an opportunity to finish off my album, which was probably halfway there. So I had, a fair bit of time to put towards finishing, that off. And so the first wave of it all, it was, 3 or 4 sessions a week in the studio. But then once all that was done, I was like, oh, what do I do now? And I went back to my day job for a little bit, and then stage 4 came around. And since then, I've had a lot to kind of plan and, put the wheels in motion for the releases. But also, I've got a really nice studio set up here at home. I've been able to be creative and start working on some new songs as well, which has been great. And I feel like I just kind of made the most of that time and kept my mind, active and busy, doing this while I kind of have a lot of time to do that for sure. So apart from the bad, boring days, most of my time is spent in this room looking at this computer, just doing other things, making some new songs. And it's actually been okay. I feel just like the uncertainty of, I guess, income of touring, and that is obviously a pretty scary, and, we don't know what's going to happen with all of that and when it will happen. But, just kind of have to roll with the times like everyone else and just hope for the best, really.
Yeah, of course. And it sounds like you have such a positive outlook on it. And it's great to hear you're being so active and creating so much music. Speaking of your music, you recently released a single called 25. Can you give us a bit of an explanation about it, how it came to be, and why you made it?
For sure. So 25, yeah, it's the latest single, and it's, I guess, a bit of a coming of age kind of narrative. I guess it was inspired by, watching like a lot of the natural involvement of like my friends and my family and me as well, I guess. And, when we're all younger, we almost like paint this picture of, what we're going to be doing when we're older and, what job we'll be in and yada, yada, yada. And I guess now that I'm 25, I had a bit of a time to reflect on that and sort of realize, hey, like who I thought I would have been at, this age is not necessarily that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing either. But it was kind of, it had me sort of thinking, wow, like I'm 25 now, like where has all the time gone so fast? So that was kind of the inspo, with the narrative of the song, which ended up being pretty much the narrative of the whole album as well. Just the ups and downs and in-betweens of being a young kid to now trying to be an adult in the world that we're in. And I feel like there's a narrative that kind of runs along with the whole record. And yeah, I recorded that one in Canada actually earlier this year when I was doing a small run of shows. So I get to always think of that memory recording in Canada. It was like -12 degrees. And one of my fingers was still numb for about a month after getting back from Canada from those gigs over there. So being able to record over there was a really cool experience too. And you can kind of hear that as well. Like it's, it differentiates a little bit from some of the other stuff on the record sound-wise, just because it's a completely different studio. We're using a lot of different mics and someone, from another country who, did the engineering on that song. It was just nice to mix that one up and sort of bring that one into the album first.
Well, no, it is such a great track, Josh. So first of all, congrats on the track. Definitely a
Thank you.
standout. It's a really, really great tune. And I think the coming of age genre, it's such an interesting kind of theme to dive into, especially in the music genre. How have you found it kind of speaking about your own experiences through music? Do you find that it is really important that through your lyrics and your music to kind of touch on your own experiences? As you said, with this song, you've kind of touched on that transition from kind of a teenager to adulthood. Do you think it's really important to kind of touch on those personal experiences?
I think it's sort of like would differentiate person to person or artist to artist for sure. But like, I've always kind of written about things that I feel, you know what I mean? Like it's always about experiences that I've had or feelings that I gauge, you know, in certain scenarios and situations, whether that be through, you know, relationships or coming of age, money. You know, I can't really write about something I don't really feel something about. So I guess for me, it was more of like a self-reflection kind of song. And since it's kind of came out, it's been nice because a lot of people apparently are 25 or turning 25 because my inbox has been pretty full of people being like, hey, you know, really resonating with the song. Like, you know, I've just turned 25 or, you know, I remember when I was 25 and I was having, you know, similar thoughts and you've got this pretty much. And so it was resonating with a lot of people. And I say 25 because it's my age, but like you can relate to the song at any age. You can be 18 and you can be 30, you can be whatever, because time's always just moving on so fast. So for me, it was more of a self-reflection song, and it seems like it's quite relatable to a lot of people because it's been a really nice response from people that have heard the song and been getting shared around a lot. And yeah, it's good that the message in the song is resonating with other people for sure.
Yeah, and I feel as though any artist would love to hear that type of response and knowing that their music means something to someone and that it made them feel a certain way. How does this track compare to your earlier release from this year, Law of Attraction?
I feel as though 25 is definitely a bit more of a cruisy number in regards to the instrumentation and the delivery of a lot of, you know, the words and lyrics, and you know, a lot of the same guitar tones happen throughout the whole album. So I've kind of really stuck to where I want to be. Definitely with, I guess, my guitar tones as such. And, you know, Law of Attraction it's a little bit more upbeat. You know, it's a bit more of a love song, I guess. And, you know, as much as they're different, you know, I sing the chorus in falsetto in 25, which I've done on a few tracks of the album. It's sort of something that worked really well with another earlier release, When a Friend Becomes a Lover. And I was really working on my falsetto vocals, and it just seemed that it, you know, flowed really nicely with this song in particular. It was in a key, I think it's in G major, and my voice can't fully get up to the highest point of the song when I'm really pushing it out. With my, like, I think they call it like your gut voice or your head voice, whatever it might be. But it just had this more like delicacy to it when I sang it in falsetto, and it felt great. The minute that I kind of wrote the actual melody to the chorus on the guitar first. So I was sitting there going like da 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 da, just in like this pentatonic scale on my guitar here in this room actually. And then when I was recording the demo, it just started with me literally singing da 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 da. And then I was toying around with lyrics, and yeah, it was cool it came together pretty quickly, but not too fast as well. So I got to, you know, mix and match a few different things with it for sure.
No, it's really
so
cool.
sidetracked from that question.
No, it's really cool. Like, we speak to artists a lot about how they approach music and how they go about it. What do they start with? And it's really great to hear how, you know, different artists' experiences and like their different approaches. So it's really, really cool to hear. Now, your upcoming debut album, it's not too far away from being released, only a couple of weeks' time now. And it's now on 25, the title. How are you feeling about this release, and what can audiences expect?
Well, I'm obviously very excited. It's been about a 2-year writing and recording process, and chopping and changing things along the way, and then, you know, writing new songs, and then, you know, replacing the older songs I've recorded to the newer ones that I've written. So, because it took quite a long time, and I was in and out of day jobs, trying to fund it all. Of course, it was, it was challenging, and it was also exciting at the same time making it. So now that it's all done, I'm just really ready to kind of get it out. It's because it's a debut. It's the first one that I've done, like the first full length LP. So of course I've got nerves and whatnot, but I love it. Like, I listen to it, not as much as I did when I first got all the masters back and everything, but every time I listen to it, I always have a little bit of a smile going like, hey, like whatever happens, like it's a great album. Like, I really believe in the songs, and I really am proud of the work that we kind of did when we put it all together. So I guess I'm, just really excited to get it out and, start number 2 eventually, because I love the recording process, and I've got a lot of new songs that have happened recently that I'm already almost ready to start recording again. And I guess what I want people to take out of the album is, I guess we're all, a part of a similar, I guess, mindset, whether you want to call it like collective consciousness. I don't know. I don't go too deep down into that rabbit hole, but, we're all going through the same things. We've all got to work. We're all going through love and heartbreak, and we've all got to pay for things, and it's just sort of like a narrative about being a human being. And in my experiences, it's the ups and downs of that, and I guess learning curves along the way. But I don't really have a direct message as such that I'm wanting to portray in the record. It was more of a pretty internal kind of writing process, I guess. So I related it to my experiences, and I'm sure that many people will be able to relate a lot of the songs to their own experiences as well.
Yeah, and I think that's so well said. And I'm sure, firstly, congratulations for this massive achievement. It's such a big deal, and it's so exciting. I know right now it's obviously quite a strange time to be releasing an album, but once everything starts to settle down, what is the first thing you're looking forward to doing musically? Is it touring? Is it maybe like actually having like a release party? What is it?
Leaving this room is probably number 1. That's probably my first thing I'm going to do, is walk out of that door. But yeah, I can't wait to get back on stage. Like, I love the recording process as much as I love being on stage. There's 2 completely different worlds, but I love them both, equally. So the first thing, because I haven't been able to do it for so long, I'd love to put on a really big headline show in Melbourne. And then take the album on the road. That's what I'm most looking forward to, is just getting back out there, playing live shows, interacting with other human beings, and playing all the songs that have been sitting on this laptop for so long, play them all live. Oh, there's a ghost in my house, look. There actually is. I've been having all these weird experiences in this house. The doors keep opening, and I've got like a sensor light out in the hallway, and every now and then it just goes off, and I'm like, oh my goodness, too much.
They're getting excited about the upcoming album. It's, that's the thing.
I know. That's exactly what it is.
No, that's really good to know. Really good to hear, Josh. And I think like going on to that about, coming up, and hopefully we can kind of get back to immersing ourselves in the, Melbourne music scene and, Australian music scene. How have you kind of found it being involved in the Australian music scene, especially in Melbourne? I know you moved from rural country to Melbourne a couple of years ago. How has that shift and that change kind of influenced your approach to music and your creation of music?
Oh, it's been great, because I didn't really originally move up to Melbourne for music. I never really thought that I would do music. I always played guitar as a hobby, and I always, loved music, don't get me wrong, but I never ever thought that music would be my career. So when I moved up here in, I think it was 2014, I was playing a few open mic nights and shows for like $20, and just like friends' parties. It was such a hobby. And then I decided to record a song and put that out there. And after that happened, it was kind of a bit of a domino effect, where I was introduced to, I guess, the music industry as such in Melbourne. And I started making new friends and going to other gigs and getting more opportunities. And that was just like, it was honestly just like a domino effect, where it started with, playing Tuesday nights at the SB, to like, selling tickets to shows, to releasing more music. And then there was like radio play, and I was like, wow, this is a cool world to be in, isn't it? And that also led on to I guess like touring around Australia, even being able to go overseas. I feel like there was a moment probably in 2015 where I was like, hey, this is a really cool world that I'm in. Obviously, I don't make any money, but I don't really care. Like, I'm having such a good time, and I feel like I can make something of this. And after that, I kind of found myself on a bit of a creative plane to really do this as a full-time thing. And, you know, it led on to, you know, making some of my, you know, new best mates and being able to, as I said, traveling Australia, performing shows and meeting a bunch of different creative and awesome people along the way that, you know, help out in so many ways. I've got all my bandmates that I usually tour with. They're all such legends. Nate's just actually had a baby, which is insane. So I've known all those guys for the last 4 years and whatnot. And out of the, you know, music times we have, we're all great friends too, which obviously makes everything a lot smoother during that whole process. But yeah, without moving up here, I probably wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation, because I probably wouldn't be doing music as a career if I didn't move to Melbourne.
Yeah, well, it's amazing to hear everything you've done since moving here, and I'm sure there's plenty more coming your way. Before we leave you, can you let us know, and all of our viewers, where they can find more of your music, to find your release of the album, any information they want about you?
For sure. I do most of my self-promo on Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram, which is Josh J. Cashman. And then obviously everywhere on the internet, like your Spotify's, your iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer, everything's online these days. So I'm sure if you punch my name into Google, you'll probably find a couple of links somewhere along the way. But, you know, I do most of my promotion on Instagram mainly.
Fantastic. Well, look, going off what Vic said, we are both super excited for the album release, Josh. We're sure it's going to be a hit. There are no doubts there. So thank you so much again, though, for joining us today to not only speak about the album and the new song release, but just also about your musical journey. It's always really beneficial to hear more about artists' journey through kind of the Australian music scene. And we both wish you, as well as all the team at 1700, all the very best for the future. We're sure there are going to be plenty more great things coming.
Thank you, folks. You're so lovely. And it was lovely to chat. And thank you for the support and for playing my music over the past whatever time it's been. And yeah, I look forward to giving you guys the record when it's all out.
Woo!
Yay.